Hello. I apologize first and foremost for the ambient noise. The noise you are hearing is from my trainer. I am on my indoor trainer and I decided to use this time to answer a question which is, well, I understand the logic behind you telling that it's not a good idea to have children, but who will take care of me in my old age? This is the question. My parents have me, my grandparents have my parents, but who will take care of me? So, have you really thought about how selfish this question is? So you are saying that you are going to bring in a life and let it go through the trials and tribulations of life for 35-40 years so that they can be around to help you for the last 5 years of your life. Do you understand how selfish this idea is? And if you do not understand how selfish this idea is, you can see how powerful societal brainwashing is. So, I'll tell you my personal story. I took care of my parents. I took care of my grandparents because I love my grandparents and I am duty bound towards my parents. I love my grandfather. But I did not want to perpetuate this misery. So, that's that. And that is the price you pay for trying to put an end to this nonsense. So, first and foremost, you have to think about how selfish this idea is. So, coming to the next way, I can answer this question in 100 ways, by the way. So, the next way to think about it is, let's say that, right now my hands and legs are working reasonably, not as well as they used to work, say 10 years ago, but I have reasonably good health and I am able to function independently. Now, I certainly wouldn't want to hang around when all my faculties are gone. Who wants to live forever? I personally do not want to live after I've stopped functioning properly. What are you going to do? It's boring, just blubbering around and drooling and shitting your own pants and not being able to walk or see or all that. So if there is no one to look after me, my end will be sooner, which is what, see, nature has a purpose for you. I have not served my purpose. I have asked nature to go climb a tree because I refuse to reproduce. But nature has a purpose for every living thing, which is to make that thing reproduce. And after that thing has reproduced and taken care of its young, nature has no use for that thing. That is why it ages it and kind of sunsets it. It obsoletes that thing, and that's called death. And death is a beautiful thing. If God came to me, of course I don't believe in God, but just a thought experiment. If God came to me and asked me, would you like to live forever? I'd say, please don't give me that. Who wants to live forever? It's boring. It's like a movie that never ends. Would you like to be in a movie that never ends? Especially act in a movie that never ends? No. It makes no sense. So this trying to live for as long as you can, I don't subscribe to that. Life is not precious. A happy and healthy and independent and free life is precious. Once there is no happiness, independence and freedom, I do not wish to be around. Why should I suffer? So this is the second way to address it. The third way to address this problem is, people always say, oh, I don't want to die alone. And I think, man, I hope you die alone. Unless you are a suicide bomber, you have to die alone. Everyone dies alone. So you can't take anyone with you. So this whole dying alone argument doesn't even pass the laughing test. Then comes this whole thing about what about your society and what about your children, they need you and all that. Well, all those things come into play only if you have children. I personally, I would maybe, if I lived in another world, in another country, if I were in another race, maybe if I were a German or a Finnish person, maybe I would have thought about having a child. But I do not know how the marriage laws are there. I am just assuming that the marriage laws are not as draconian as they are here in India. So, if that was the case, I would have considered that. But given my circumstances, my first order of duty, see now that my parents and grandparents are gone, right? My first order of business is to secure my own welfare. I am not here to sacrifice myself for the betterment of society or religion or anything like that. I always say, if I cannot be happy, if I cannot be healthy, if I cannot be satisfied, how do you expect me to make others satisfied and others happy? Please don't make that demand of me. But society constantly makes that demand of you. And you will even notice your own parents telling you that, I suffered so much so that you can have a happy life. No one asked you to suffer. You would not have suffered if you had not had me. So this whole idea about who will take care of me is a selfish and irrelevant question. It arises from the preconceived notion that you have to live for as long as possible, like hold on to life, no matter how badly battered and bruised you are. No, you are supposed to go gracefully and quickly. Again, I am not a religious person, but there are many Hindu religious texts that ask for a quick and graceful death to God. So, life is not precious. A happy life is. A free life is, an independent life is, a life where you are not a slave to anybody or anything is precious. This is according to me. If having somebody by your deathbed is important to you, then you have to pay the price. You pay the price of being bound or being a slave for 40 years. Who wants to prepare for death for their entire life? I don't understand that. Why would anyone want to live their entire life so that they can die well? This just boggles my mind. This question cannot be answered in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. This is a 3-hour, 3-day question. But think about it. The reason why don't you want to die alone? You are obviously afraid of being alone, right? Now, if you think about what you are afraid of and then try to overcome that fear or rationalize that fear, then I don't think it's a problem. I'm sure people who die with their entire family around them die the same way. Death is a beautiful thing. Embrace death. Death is a beautiful thing. Without death, my life has no meaning. Your life has no meaning. It's a boring, droning monotony. Okay? So once you understand that death is very important for life, for you to live happily, then all these questions will vanish. I'll address this topic often because it's a very interesting topic and an important one. Okay, bye-bye.